If you are currently going through a breakup, just know that this can be one of the most transformative times of your life if you let it. So be really intentional with this time. Don't partake in things that you wouldn't be proud of. Don't do things that you'll regret later on. Really use this time to work on you, and I'm going to give you some tips that you can take advantage of today so that you can ensure that your next relationship will hopefully be your last. So the first tip that I have for you is to move any images or memories of this person somewhere else. So you don't need to go through the extreme measure of burning it or deleting it. You can simply move it to an area that isn't as accessible. So I know that when I had a breakup, I had certain items from this individual and I didn't go and donate them or sell them. I simply put them in my storage, in my garage, somewhere where I wasn't going to be seeing these items on a regular or daily basis. And same with photos. So perhaps there is an iPad that you don't use or an old laptop that, is outdated. Maybe you can move the pictures there. So it's not something that you really need to get rid of entirely. It's something that you just don't want staring at you, because that is going to bring up all of those memories. And obviously, if you have broken up with this person, then you want to move forward. And looking at images or memories or things of this person is not going to help. When it comes to messages and things like that, I tend to just delete those because there isn't really a way to move them anywhere, and I don't see myself wanting to go through those messages ever again, to be honest, because I'm moving forward and those messages are a part of my past, okay? So really go through this process and be strong. Really trust that this is for the best and that you getting rid of these things are going to help you just take the next step to move forward, to focus on you. And having these things right in front of your face every day is really going to hold you back, and it's going to make moving on 100 times harder, okay? The next thing that I want you to do is to pour into your own cup, okay? Now, one thing that I've noticed is a lot of people don't do that. Okay, and they think they're doing that because they're going out and they're partying and they're drinking and they're hanging out with friends, but that's not pouring into your own cup, okay? Pouring into your own cup means doing things for you that are good for you, okay? It's not about numbing yourself. It's not about forgetting. It's not about, doing things that are going to take your mind off of the situation, because at the end of the day, that's basically like just putting a band-aid on an open wound. It's not really helping the wound itself. So take the approach of actually taking care of you, okay? So you know what you need. Perhaps you need a massage. Perhaps you need just a day out in nature. Perhaps you need a long vent with your mom or someone you trust. Those are the things that are actually going to fill your cup and help you heal. Going out and partying and drinking and doing things like that are only going to provide band-aid solutions. And at least for me personally, I heal best on my own. Although I might feel like I'm healing when I'm around other people, I'm actually not, because I'm just distracting myself from what I truly need to be doing, which is investing in me and taking care of me, okay? So it is completely okay to be selfish during this time and to focus on you. The other thing that I want to mention, by the way, I have my notes here, that's why I'm looking down, is to really take the time to get to know yourself again, because after a breakup, we may kind of feel like our identity has been lost, right? We've been with this person, maybe we became more like them, which is completely natural. And in most relationships, we do end up kind of molding into a person that is kind of in between both individuals. So take the time to get to know yourself again. What do you like? Okay, what kind of food do you like? What are your interests? What music do you like? What movies do you like? Get to know yourself again and truly take the time to fall in love with yourself again. Okay, you don't need to hop onto a dating app and just move on with the snap of a finger. You can simply fall in love with you. You can choose you. You can date you. Okay, and so that is one of the best things you can do during this time, is to really channel all of that energy that used to be going to that other person back into yourself. Okay, now during this time, when you're spending time with you, when you're getting to know yourself, I want you to do some soul searching. Okay, and by soul searching, I mean, once again, getting to know you better, kind of figuring out what you like, what you don't. And some ways that you can do that is to write. Okay, so journaling is huge. And I've noticed that when you've just gone through a breakup, sometimes it's like hard to get started. So perhaps you can look up some journal prompts, or what you can do is to simply free write. So free write is when you literally just write any thought or word that comes to mind without judging it, without making sense of it. It might be gibberish, it might not even be complete sentences, but what you're doing is you're basically taking all those thoughts that are kind of just muddled in your brain and you're getting them on paper, which helps you to process your pain and to kind of process the emotions and to really figure out what is going on, okay? The other thing that you can do is to learn. Take a class. Maybe you can even take a career test to figure out what your interests are, or which areas of your life are you truly talented in. What are your skill sets, right? It's really important that during this time you notice your greatness, because what a lot of us do is we are so attached to this other person that we are kind of painting them out to be this amazing person that we missed out on. But what we really need to be doing is to be looking at ourselves that way. Okay, so I really encourage you guys to look within, and while you're doing this soul searching, perhaps you can learn, you can take a new class, you can take on a new hobby, maybe you can start a new career. Breakups are one of the best times to start something new, because you don't really have many attachments, you are going through this transition period, and you're able to really commit yourself to something because you're not dating anyone. So for me personally, I think I've shared this in a previous video, my last breakup before my now husband was one of the most transformative periods of my life. Okay, you guys, I started reading again, I got back into yoga, I read a bunch of books, I learned how to invest, I started my investing account, I was studying for an exam, I started a new job, I decided to start a business, I attended networking events. Like, it was such a transformative period of my life, and what I just explained to you probably sounded like a full decade, right? This was literally like 1 year, okay? So in 1 year, I was able to do all of those things because I wasn't here avoiding the pain. I wasn't here like, oh, I'm just gonna go out and drink and forget what happened. I was literally putting all of my energy and resources and time into me. And that is how I was able to figure out what I loved. Also during that time, I started writing. And writing is huge, you guys, because it allows us to express our emotions without needing to talk to anyone, and it's a great outlet for you to express yourself. So I got into poetry, and this was really cathartic for me because I was able to get all my feelings out there. I was able to be super cheesy or super emotional or whatever I needed to be in order to get it out, okay? So instead of ignoring it, let it come out, let it flow. Like, it is okay for you to feel sad or angry or disappointed, but instead of just bottling all of those things, you can funnel that energy into writing, into learning, into expressing yourself, into finding a new hobby, right? And when you do that, you will realize that you've now created a whole new life. You've now invested in yourself and basically made lemonade out of lemons. The next thing that I recommend, which you should be doing this regardless, is exercise. Get your body moving, go outside, get some fresh air. We tend to kind of just want to crawl in a ball and lay in bed all day, and this is the last thing you want to be doing. It's okay if you want to Netflix and chill at night, but make sure that during the day you're at least doing some sort of activity and spending some time outdoors. I had a friend who went to the doctor. He was feeling depressed and anxious and all of these things, and upon having a conversation with the doctor, guess what the doctor prescribed him? Guess. Comment down below your guess before I share. He prescribed him a day outside. Can you believe that? That is literally what this guy needed. He didn't need drugs, he didn't need medicine, he didn't need alcohol, he didn't need the television. He needed to literally go outside and breathe fresh air. The doctor found this out from the conversation because he basically found out that this guy had been home for the past, like, I don't know how many weeks. And this is typical among people who suffer from depression, is being at home and being in closed doors. And you guys don't realize, but the sun is healing. We need to literally have the sunlight on our skin to regenerate, to rejuvenate, to feel human. So get outside. It doesn't need to be a huge elaborate thing. You can simply go for a walk. Instead of driving to the grocery store or driving to get coffee, you can walk there, and it will really make a big difference in your day and just in your overall energy. The other thing that I want you to do is to take radical responsibility. This part is key. It probably should have been step 1, but I was easing you into this because this is the part where a lot of people kind of just lose it, and they don't want to do it. They don't want to really take responsibility, okay? But this is key. If you really want to learn from this situation, from this relationship, and become a better lover, a better friend, a better partner, then radical responsibility is key. And this is when, instead of pointing the fingers at your ex, you are pointing all the fingers at yourself, and you are asking yourself, how did I contribute to the downfall of this relationship? There is a journal prompt right there, okay? How did I contribute to the downfall of this relationship, okay? The other thing you can ask yourself, what part of me attracted this dynamic in my life, okay? Because subconsciously, any relationship that we partake in, we have chosen, we have decided. You might say, oh no, he lured me into it, oh no, he tricked me, oh no, blah, blah, blah. But at some level, you chose that. You chose it. Whether the relationship was full of suffering, whether it was abusive, unfortunately, at some level, you chose it, and you felt worthy of that level of disrespect. So you need to really unpeel the layers and figure out why. Why did you feel okay in that situation? Okay, and a lot of times this has to do with childhood. A lot of times this has to do with things growing up. Perhaps it was feeling abandoned by one of your primary caregivers. Perhaps it was you feeling like you had to prove yourself, or that you had to, fix this person from a bad boy into a good guy. Whatever it was, reflect on it, journal about it, and really decide why this relationship even happened and what part you played in there, okay? So taking radical responsibility is like life-changing because you get to actually control the outcome. You start realizing you are the author of your life. I recently made a short on this, that you are the author. So instead of blaming this person, that person, your mom, your dad, you start taking responsibility for who you are today. Yes, things might have happened to you growing up, but right now in this moment, you are responsible for you and you are responsible for the outcome of your life. When you start living like that and thinking like that, your whole world will change. Okay, I could film like a whole series on taking radical responsibility, but I think that right after a breakup is one of the best times to do so. Along those same lines is to just reflect. Okay, so reflect on the relationship. Now, reflection is different from just dwelling on something and, you know, just kind of repeating all of the events in your head and brewing on it and brooding, you know, that is not what reflection is. Reflection is when you're logically reflecting on the relationship, on all of the stages and how it progressed, and once again, taking responsibility for the outcome, for the entire thing from start to finish, and realizing who you are. Who you are as a person, who you are as a lover, why you're attracted to certain people, why maybe certain patterns or trends continue to arise in different relationships. I know that this was an issue for me, was dating different people, but kind of having similar issues come up in each of these situations. And then you start realizing, what's the common denominator here? Well, it's me. So why do I keep having to go through this situation over and over again? Is God trying to tell me something here? Okay, and then last but not least is to focus on self-improvement. So this is the best time of your life to take care of yourself, to improve yourself, to focus on your betterment. So I'm going to meet you at my next video, which is how to improve yourself while single. I will see you all there. Okay, bye. Mwah.